and I'm the owner of Kootenai Pilates. I've been teaching Pilates for the last 10 years. I received my mat training through the Physical Mind Institute and my equipment training through Pilates Sports Center.
My name is Mona Sather. I've been teaching Pilates for about 16 years, and I've been teaching at Kootenai Pilates for I think 8 or 9 years. I was very humbled by it when I first started. I thought that I was very strong in my body and very fit, and in some ways I was, but Pilates really pointed out to me my imbalances and where I was tight, and although it was humbling, it was also extremely intriguing to me.
Pilates is focused on expansive movement with a focus on the core. Joseph Pilates coined his work contrology, and the focus around that was exploring a movement with a real focused intention, starting with some basic movements, which we call the fundamentals. These are things like how we align our pelvis, and how we align our rib cage, our shoulders.
There was always things you're thinking about when you're doing your Pilates movement. Like when you're doing this particular movement, are you breathing? Is your pelvic floor activated? So trying to increase that awareness.
There's lots of different ways to start. Mat work is simple to do. All that's required is a mat. We supply props here. It's just simple because it's just you experiencing the movement.
Some people come into it and they're very drawn to the mat work. Some people start in reformer. We have something called the Studio Sampler here, which is a great way to test everything out. So you get a private session with an instructor, you can do a reformer class and a mat class, and taste out everything that we have, and then make a decision from there, depending on what appeals to you.
I've done one session of reformer, but it's mostly been mat that I've been working with. I really enjoy the mat. For me, it's more of an all-round workout. I find the mat very challenging the way it is.
I think that there's a purity to the mat work that you don't get as much in the reformer work. So as a lot of people may know, the reformer has the springs and the pulleys and the moving carriage, and there's so many components to it, which can be very supportive but also very distracting.
Definitely a really interesting complement, especially when you're starting out. The reformer gives you kind of those really isolated movements, and then you really find your spots where you have some weaknesses, where the mat is like a little bit more free movement.
I think reformer sometimes offers us more support so we can feel a little bit safer with recovering from injury. That said, the mat can be really powerful because you're just starting with the basics, there's less equipment, so it's less complicated, just learning the fundamental alignment principles. And then as someone feels more comfortable with the fundamentals, we'll work into some basic progressions, connecting to breath and grounding, and then slowly adding more load, extending your legs close to your body or moving them further away. Sometimes adding a prop could make the exercise more difficult.
One of the things that I like about Pilates is taking a movement that you do just with the mat, and then how does that feel when you do it with the foam roller, or how does that feel when you integrate a stability ball? And so using some similar movements, but using the props to then understand how it makes the movement different. We're also here to have fun, and we're moving and we're just exploring, and it's wonderful, right? And so is every movement perfect? No. Could it be better? Absolutely. But within that, we can play with it, and it should be enjoyable.
That's what was going on.
So much fun. They're a great bunch of people. They're from all sorts of different walks of life and different age groups, and we're all here for the same thing, to work with Pilates. But at the same time, it's a real fun atmosphere to be here with all the group of people.
I don't feel like there's competition in the class, but what I do love is when people are pushing themselves, it makes me want to push myself more.
You're never too old to start Pilates, you're never too young. Within the work, we can modify any exercise, we can make it easier, we can make it harder. I feel very confident that anyone could come into a mat class and I could work with them in a way that they would feel that they got something out of the class, that they left and they learned something new, or they feel better than when they came in.